Hi, this is Phil Brennan at the Good Games with,
Jared Smith.
Andra.
and we're doing deck tech for the sealed event sealed event. We picked War this time. Let's see what we're gonna get this time.
Personally, this award did me quite well during the pre-release. I was able to win the midnight with a very lucky open.
Didn't you play Red 2, Andra?
I did, but this was actually my first sealed, so definitely gonna learn a lot from this.
So the sealed packs with the Theros came with hero cards. These are the last ones. These ones make your own hero weapon, basically. Color coordinated dice. And then we have the packs. The packs include a seed pack, 2 packs from Journey into Nyx, 1 pack of Born of the Gods, not everybody's favorite, one of mine personally, and 2 packs of Theros. So we'll start with the seeded pack. Open her up.
Oh, just a little helper.
And then away.
That's what she called herself.
I don't know who that is.
It's the girl from Wheel of Fortune that does the board.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't watch Wheel of
First up, we
Fortune.
have
Well, you're not American.
Apparently.
we have the promo. Personally, I love that promo. It allows it where late game you can have anywhere between 3 to 5 mountains into play, and it can deal significant damage. Remove a creature that is possibly causing you problems. The other rare in this pack I got is Eidolon of the Great Revels. This is pretty good for certain things, like making it where it's going to be a lot harder for faster players after this thing comes out. Basically, you want to be sure after you play this card to play 4 mana or higher guys, or you're going to get hurt. So those are the rares for the pack. I'm just going to pile up the packs as I go here. I got just for red at the moment. This is looking really good for.
Yeah, this seed pack was amazing.
It's quite as especially toward the Minotaurs.
Yeah, I just noticed the
Minotaurs
Minotaurs.
definitely stomp.
Oh, speaking of Minotaur.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, I guess. All right, we're done with this video.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Now for the next pack. Thank you, Miss Vanna.
No problem.
And the rare we have, Temple of Malady. That might actually work if our green pool or black pool ends up being pretty good for possible splashes. Our uncommons, we got, speaking of green and black, we got the Nyx Weaver. And we got a Fleet Feather Cockatrice. Awesome flyer that can come in. And let's starting to give our white a shout out would be the Reprisal. I'll go ahead and wow.
Is red looking bomby again?
No, I haven't even touched the red yet, although
Minotaurs.
the double up on the Minotaurs again.
Yeah.
That's always good.
And speaking of good black cards, we've got some there with a filler. Green is alright. Blue is looking at the lackluster part at the moment.
Are they
But
yours?
it might change toward the end. The next pack, here we go. And the rare in this pack is Master of the Feast. So that's definitely pushing our black toward the forefront in this one. That guy is definitely something to do. Looking at the uncommons again, we got another Reprisal. And another Fellhide Petrifier. Minotaurs are looking at the forefront at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I played Minotaurs at a draft format, and no one expected it, and they were extremely shocked when I started whipping out two of the really heavy hitters, and the people did not know what to do with it. They were shocked having me swinging it with an 8/7 trampling
Fortunately
person.
for this pack, the red was so lackluster, and so was the green. But white wasn't that bad, so on to Born of the Gods. Let's see what we get in here. And the rare is a Silent Sentinel. If anybody doesn't remember, that was the promo for the white pre-release box during Born of the Gods. And speaking of black cards, we also got Archetype of Finality.
I guess our death touch is becoming a thing.
More than
Oh gosh,
lately.
Death Touch Minotaurs.
Yep.
Death Touch Minotaurs and everything then gets Death Touch.
Our red gave us alright stuff. We'll find out if we got enough stuff later. Black, along with Death Touch, gave us a Servant of Temerit. Blue again is looking not so great, and white is doing okay. Now on to Theros.
Black is definitely looking good.
Oh yeah,
I'm liking what Black is doing
Blue,
right now.
we could probably eliminate.
Yeah,
thinking.
so far-
I'm expecting Blue to be eliminated very
unless
quickly.
unless something changes within Theros. I agree with you. Ooh, we got a foil Commune with the Gods.
Looks
Not
nice.
Something and a Sylvan Carotid. So green just got a
Green
bump.
just came
And
up, yeah.
surprisingly, the Sylvan Carotid is still like extremely expensive card. It's still played heavily and a lot of the green aggro decks and big green monsters. And one of my favorite cards. It was also the buy box promo.
Well, our black just keeps getting stronger with a Scourge Mark and Stifle of Phoenix. So this
Wow.
pack also.
And there's that one card we still could never pronounce.
Well, red gave us a Coordinated Assault and a Rage of Perforos.
That's always good.
Removal. And speaking of blue, this is the pack where blue decided to jump forward with a Voyage and a Horizon Scholar and a Thassa's Emissary.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Blue
I
just.
still don't think that it's enough.
No,
I don't
right-
think it's
right-
enough either.
Again, not enough, but if it does another jump in this one, it might
It might,
become a contender.
right. Yeah.
I think
But-
Black is becoming a huge contender.
Yeah. I
Well,
think
black is obvious.
Yeah.
And speaking of black, a foil Keepsake Gargon.
Oh, that card's always good.
Oh, yeah. And we got Swan Song for blue.
Alright, Song is eh.
And then we got a Dark Betrayal.
That's good.
First artifact, a Burnished Tart, which is pretty good.
If you're running dual colors.
I prefer it with any kind of color combination just because it'll help stand out your deck. White got another Battle-Wise Valor and a Last Breath.
That's always good.
Green.
Our removal in this entire sealed is fantastic.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I got, unfortunately, red decided to die out later on. I got a Spark Jolt here. I got a Scourge Mark and a Viper's
Well,
Kiss.
let's not cut out red yet.
No,
Yeah,
it's
'cause they
definitely a
definitely
contender. I'm definitely happy with it. So why don't we start out with that and see how we got it. See where we go from there.
Black or red? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
For
you.
red.
For red,
Okay.
yeah. Since we started with red, we got the red box. So,
And take out the
Let's-
Wookiees.
Let's make red look pretty.
but just because you got the red box doesn't mean that you should go for red. Because
Oh, agreed.
I definitely shouldn't have done red with my box.
I think
There-
the one
that is-
box I did was I got white, and surprisingly I was able to like continue with the white path.
Definitely you don't always go with the color you're dealt.
Yeah, don't feel obligated.
Yeah, sometimes your best pool isn't always that. But so I'm gonna lay these out from the highest end to the lowest end. Here we got our promo card there, topping out at 6 mana. Again, really good, great card, really good finisher, 5/5 flyer that deals damage. And we don't have any 5 or 6 drops, but we have a good 4 drop, 3/2 with Intimidate. So unless you come across another person playing red, that's probably going to be really good for pushing damage through. Then, since the Minotaurs have been in the forefront, 2/3 drops. They're on the lackluster of vanilla, but
It is a Minotaur.
he is a
Yeah.
Minotaur, so it's not that bad.
We can't.
Then we
eliminate
got
red.
the Eidolon. We also have the Morgus Warhound, Taxi Children of Fable, and the Bestow is pretty damn cheap. So, for 3 gives +2/+2. Not that bad. Here is a card that I personally love. It helped so many times during the pre-release. And that's the Sigiled Skink. Now, if anybody doesn't know, a skink is actually a lizard that can have antifreeze in its body. This
Are
thing,
we putting animal facts in our video? That's
The
awesome.
more you know.
The more
but
you
just
know.
the fact that it's a 2/1 for 2, that when you attack, you get the scry. If you even get one attack out of him, he's great. I had multiples in the sealed. I actually won, so he was great right there. And our 1-drop creature is a decent
He
bestow guy.
is one of my personal favorites because he's either 1/1 for 1, or at turn 2 he becomes a +1/+1 for whatever you played the first time. So me personally, I love the Nyxborn Rolliger, but I mean that's just my personal favorite.
He's a great guy to have. I mean, worst case scenario, you have one of them out there. You get 2 of them. You play 1 and bestow the next one. All right, those are our creatures. Now let's go in the reverse order with our spells.
I really like the art.
We got- Magma Spray. Great removal card. This
Mhm.
this card would if a removal ends up being heavy in this color, is one of the forefront ones. Speaking of removal, even though it's not the best, we got Spark Jolt. This can be a finisher, or if you find out your opponent's playing a lot of small end creatures, it can deal the damage.
This won me a lot of games
Did it
during the
really?
sealed. Yeah, actually. Just any burn cards that you can have in red obviously will help because that's what red does.
Yes.
But
It can take care of a lot of stuff with small in the back end, like I said,
Right.
and it can take care of the tokens.
it's definitely a backup.
Yes. And then we have Coordinated Assault. Really great for Heroic. The fact that it gives +1/+0 and first strike to two
Two
creatures
creatures.
for just one red can definitely be a different.
It triggers the
game.
heroic and triggers everything that you need.
Now here's a little bit of a lackluster card. It's called Empathy Storm. For anybody who played during the card, it's a makes your turns your cards into looters, which basically means you pitch a card and you get to draw a card. Not that bad, especially during late game, and it can also trigger heroic and turn a dead small creature into a useful creature at the time. Unfortunately, our 2-drop is a Font of Ire. One of it is alright, but not the best. And then we go to 5 with Rage of Perforos. Personally, great for limited because it deals 4 damage and you get to scry 1. Not that bad, but it's also sorcery speed, which can be a little hindrance. Now, onto the Minotaurs. We just so happen to get 2 Flurry of Horns. Is there any tokens?
Tokens Minotaurs?
Yeah, I think I got one.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
We did not get tokens.
For 5 mana, you get 2/3s with haste for Minotaurs. So this is actually pretty good. For 5 mana to get 4 power and 6 toughness. Even though it's sorcery speed, you can play during your second main phase and be able to pop out 2 blockers for 5 mana.
It's
Pretty
not bad.
decent.
I like it. I don't know if it's going to see standard play in the Minotaur deck, if there is going to be one, but for a limited standpoint, it's fantastic. You just put something out there. It's like now you have to deal with 2 more creatures.
Again, this is what we got for red. Not bad, but it definitely teetered out as we went along. So it's a contender, but it might not be where we end up going. So let me pack this up for now and go on to our next color, which definitely will be black, which, as we saw, had a lot of decent cards in it. So
A lot of death touch. A lot of death in our black.
So let's
Death touch.
again. Let me start with the creatures. Get them all out of here so we can see what we're dealing with. There's a lot of ones that I appreciate. So we'll start out with the top end here. I think of that one. Nope. Yeah, which is our Architect of
Finality. Yep.
Finality. Which gives all of our guys Death Touch and stops our opponent's cards from having Death Touch. Pretty dang good when it needs to be. Now, if our green becomes a possibility, or even if we just might end up playing this with the Temple, is also this card. I can't remember. I don't personally know how to pronounce it, but its ability is pretty damn good, especially if you have a way to return it. The fact that it's a 3/3 for 6 is kind of hurting it, but again, it has the lure ability, and when it dies, can kill off a small creature, or if it's blocked to 6/6, can even kill that off. So that's a possibility if we go that. Then we have our Keepsake Gorgon, which is removal on a stick when you can monster it. Pretty dang good.
It itself has death touch.
Yes, and it itself has Death Touch, so it can
Shiny.
block out it. And as our lovely lady assistant said, it's shiny. Then we have this great Constellation card. I love playing with this card just for the fact that it gives Intimidate. Intimidate is a great possibility. Simply, it's a variant of Fear. Allows you to broaden your horizons here. On to the next 2 cards. We have Royal Hulk. Not the best card, but again, if you need it, it's a filler. And then we also have Disciple of Phoenix. Great for devotion. Great way to empty your opponent's hand. Just a small card that can be really unique when you need it. It can really take apart your opponent's hand when you need, if you are able to go out correctly. Then we go to our Big Papa, Master of the Feast. This is a game-winning card. He's a 5/5 for 3 that at the beginning of your upkeep your opponent gets to draw a card. Having a 5/5 flyer for 3. If you're not winning this card with this card, it's going to be pretty hard to understand why you're not. Next, we'll go to Servant of Timurat. He's a 1/3 with Regenerate that has Inspire that drains your opponent for 1 and gives you 1. The Inspired is great on this guy simply because when you regenerate, it taps down this creature and removes him from combat. So he can block for days. Not to mention, early game, if your opponent doesn't have anything, getting 1 point of damage in isn't bad. And then along with the Minotaur theme, again, we have 2 Fellhide Petrifiers. This gives our Minotaurs, this little guy gives our Minotaurs Death Touch. And him himself has Death Touch as well. So making those tokens might be a way to go ahead and take down some big, heavy beaters against your opponent. Now our 2-drops. Unfortunately, we have the Returned Reveler. This is one of the few guys that just hurts you whenever you play him. So he's probably going to be a big cut. He's a 1/3 for 2. When he dies, top 3, it mills both of us. So again, unless you're playing with a lot of return, not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Blood Crazed Hoplite. This guy is a great heroic. He's a 2/1 for 2. He gets bigger and he shrinks your opponent's heroic guys. All around, awesome card if you can target him. That does it for our creatures in black. As you're seeing, this isn't doing too well, just like our red, but together they might actually make something decent. Back to our spells. We have Dark Betrayal. If we ever find ourselves going against another black deck, perfect 1-drop to go ahead and get rid of their cards. Then Viper Kiss. Not the ideal card to have, but if you want to be able to shut down something or even shrink something enough, it could be used in a pinch. Again, another one, the shrink stuff, is Cast into Darkness. 2 mana, makes him -2/-0, and can't block. So if you have a card like, say, Fleece Main Ram, it might be a good idea to go ahead and toss that on there.
Mm-hmm.
2 Scourge Marks, pumpable, so heroic, and it gets to draw us a card. Not that bad. Grizzly Transformation. Gives our guy Intimidate and also another draw card. Not bad, but for 3 mana, we kind of want a little more with our enchantments. Then we have Nyx Infusion. Great card to go ahead and remove non-enchantment creatures that are small and to take an enchantment creature and pump it up. Pretty dang good, honestly, especially if you're trying to do the Constellation ability. That's what we got for
So
black.
what are you feeling on black?
Black is pretty good. I think we might want to take a look at white because that was giving us some pretty good feedback.
I think we need to they're both pretty strong, but they need help. So we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
double it up.
Yeah, so
Right.
we need to see what we
We're
got.
definitely not looking at mono.
No, it definitely has to be a multi, at least
And
two.
our blue was not so impressive.
No,
like
but,
once I saw the Nautilus, I was like,
We'll take.
blue is not.
Yeah, that's not doing too good. We'll take a look to see if there was anything worth mentioning, but I pretty much doubt it. White looks like it has some pretty good stuff in it. The Silent Sentinel, 7 mana, flying. The fact that I can get an enchantment back each turn does a lot toward you, especially if you're trying to do the Constellation abilities. Next one we have is the Curling Mastiff. Real powerhouse. This guy can go help you go the distance by locking down. Even though he's a 2/2 for 4.
It's pretty worth it.
Yeah, he's a ability. Worst case scenario, you're swinging in. Best case scenario, you either stop an attacker or stop a blocker. Then we get the little lackluster Great Heart filler card again.
Yeah, filler.
Basically, that's all he's
Love
good
those
for.
vanilla fillers.
Then we have the Archetype of Courage.
Oh, we got both archetypes.
Yeah, so
Deathstrike is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, so that's not something that we might want to rule out, but the fact that he's double white does kind of hurt us for a splash.
Right.
I like how though, for some reason, for all those colors, we get like the 6 or 7 drop, skip 6 and 5, and just go right to 4. And so our late game is kind of lacking.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're looking at this deck tech as so far, we have to pretty much be on the fast game because we have nothing for mid.
Yeah,
We have fast, no mid,
Yeah, 5 and 6
and
were
maybe one or two
lacking
late
this.
games.
Now here's a decent one: is Harvest Guard Alcalid. This little constellation ability can help quite a bit because it allows you to go ahead and swing with the guy you want to swing with no matter what, and you don't have to worry about him being blocked and killed because it prevents any damage dealt to him. Now here's a good one: Eagles of the Watch. 2-1 for 3 with flying and vigilance. This card does so much work for flying.
It puts in the work.
Oh, definitely does that. And then on top of that, we also have the Observant Esled. Another good guy to bestow. Great by itself because of the vigilance. I've played him in both spots where I've played him at the 5 mana to bestow. I've played him at the 3 mana as a creature.
And this has potential to be the late game.
Yeah, so
It does have potential to be a late game.
So he goes both ways.
I personally like that card. I've never found a dull moment with that card.
Mm-hmm.
Now on to our 2-drops. We have the Swift Claw here. 3-1 for 2. Again, great card because of the 3 power here. Can trade with a 1-1, can trade with a 2-2, and can trade with a 3-3. Because of those options, you have good and you have the bad.
And
The fact that early game 3 damage can be really great.
Right.
Stonewise Fortifier. He's basically a bear, but when you get the mana, he can go ahead and be a pretty damn good blocker. On to our 1-drops. We got the Lagonia Band Trailblazer.
Oh, that's the card I decided to have fun with. I love this card. It's a 1 mana 0/4, so it's basically the Pilfered Ox, but with a heroic. So when you can get that thing huge, it just stops people because that thing the butt becomes too big to deal with, and then it eventually just start dealing damage. And so like once you put like for example, I'm just gonna do a quick example like the Rollicker. So for 2 mana, this one becomes a 2/7. No, 2/6. I apologize. And that's on turn 2.
Yeah,
Your opponent can't deal with a 2/6. It's really hard to. He's either going to be 2 for 1ing himself or 3 for 1ing himself, or you just have a blocker for days. And even if they do manage to kill this, now you have this out, and it's like now you just basically just replace the creature. Yeah, it's a 1/1,
But it's
but
still
it
It
replaces.
gives you another block possibility.
right.
And then we have the Loyal Pegasus. Great card in some situations. Other situations, it can hurt. If they get rid of the other card that it attacks with, you're basically left with a 2/1 in the air that's just hovering there. So it has its potentials, but not something you always want to concentrate on. Okay, so that does it for our creatures. Again, a lot of decent 3-drops in white, but not looking too good here. For
I'm expecting our deck to become more not aggro-y, but more control-ish type.
pretty much. I mean, we do have the aggro aspect with red and black at the moment, and white is offering some decent control.
Would you
variants.
risk doing 3 colors?
I have done 3 colors in the past, and I'm not a huge suggestion person who advises it. I've been very lucky with my fixing or being able to ratio out my mana in the past. I've had it work for me 100% and been very lucky. Then there's times when I've just been sitting there twiddling my thumbs while I'm waiting for either another mana of the right color or just a creature of the colors for what I have out there.
It's a possibility. I try to stick with the 1 or 2 colors person. Like
Right,
even drafting, I will force it if I have to because I don't want to go to 3 colors because that just becomes a huge problem.
Yeah,
To me,
even
it comes
2
down
colors
always to the fixing. If it's there and it's a possibility, and you have to, if your 2 colors aren't giving you enough, then sometimes a third is the way to go.
Even if it's a splash.
We have Oppressive Raise. Awesome card to use. Again, this is on the control aspect. So this might actually be seeing where we're going with this. So it has its possibilities. Then we have a Johnny's Presence. This card can do so much work with Heroic. So much work to go ahead and save your guys. I've used it as a 1 mana save spell. And then I've also used it as a way just to pump up my guys to go ahead and win the game. So it has both sides of the control aspect there. Then our other spells, we have two Battleize Valors. Great card, pumps for +2/+2, triggers Heroic when you got it, and has a scry on it. For 2 mana, giving +2/+2 is really great. Allows you to save your guy if you have the mana open, or push the damage through when you need it. Then we also have 2 reprisals. Great way to take care of late game fatties that we have to worry about. 4 power greater. Definitely a way to go ahead and take out their big guys.
Especially since we don't have strong late game.
I especially like the art, how it's like taking out the dragon.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
And for our last spell in white, we have Last Breath. So we have 2 cards to take out the big and 1 card to take out the small. Not too shabby when it's looking for control. And because of where our grouping is for spells, that's looking like
It's where
pretty
you
good.
want it. It's where you
Yeah.
want it.
So you think you're gonna do white, or do you think we need to look more?
Here we are with our green pool now. We ended with our creatures. We got 2 Satyr Grove Dancers. Really great to go ahead and push something over the top. They can help make something small big and something big even bigger. Our other 2 drops here, we got the Silver Carriage. Really great for mana fixing. We also got the Golden Hind for ramp. A little lackluster is 2 Satyr Hedonists. Probably won't be using them if I do go green. 3 drop, we got the Nyxborn Wolf.
So I'm running into a common problem. It's good low. It gets the side not so much.
Gray Robber Spider. Another good reason to go green and black. And then we have the Nessian Asp at 5. Our spells are really not, this is a great guy, by the way. Our spells aren't doing too hot. We have Nature's Panoply. Awesome card. 1 mana, Strive. Puts a 1/1 counter on stuff. Another mana fixer is the Market Festival. Turns 1 land into producing just 1 mana into 3. And then our other spells, just so you can see, is a Foil Commune with the Gods. Not going to be able to get too much stuff from my graveyard, so probably won't be using that. Then we got Calling Mark, basically Lure. Not something you want to be using. Krufix Insight. Also puts more stuff in the graveyard. Again, something I don't want to be using. And then Desecration Plague. Not a fan of blowing up someone's lands, but the enchantment part wouldn't be bad.
I love blowing people's stuff up.
So
We gotta
green
get on that.
has splashables, but not.
So, I'm a huge EDH player, which people don't know what that is. It's Elder Dragon Highlander. It's Commander. It's really frowned upon in Commander to start blowing people's lands up because it's not fun. Because eventually the guy just sits there, starts twiddling his thumbs and going through the motions of like draw go.
Yeah.
So, but when you come through the competitive standpoint of like Standard or into Sealed or Draft, blowing up people's lands is okay. It's okay.
So because we do have some early stuff here and some stuff that helps with our black and mana fixing, we might go 3 colors with green. We'll
Just check
but
back.
it's a possibility. So let's
We're not looking at blue because the blue is awful.
let's show them why it's so awful.
We have a Nautilus.
Okay,
It's already bad.
Nautilus. Not again. So 4/4 for 3 gets targeted. Bye bye. That's the reason why people don't like it. We have
I don't
the
care if it's 4/4.
Coastline Chimera, a 1/5 flyer, great for blocking, bad for attacking. Then we have the Horizon Scholar, awesome card, Scry 2, Flying Giant 4/4. We also have Thessa's Emissary, great either as a bestow or as is. We also have the Wave Crasher Titan, really great for the control aspect. But guess what, kiddies? That's all we have for our creatures in blue. That's not really putting us for anywhere near
What
blue.
does Andra think of this?
Makes me sad.
It makes her sad. Now, what blue does contribute is control. We have a Griptide, we have Dissolve, we got Swan Song, Voyage End,
Over here.
Crypsis. Not the best, but we also have Excellent Intelligence. Not something I'd actually run. Thassa's Ire. It's great for doing inspiration. And then we got 2 Hubris. So our 2 drops in spells. Really great with 3 bounces. But as you can see, blue is definitely a pass.
I agree.
All right. So what do you think is going to be our main color?
I'm liking black because of how black can interact with Death Touch, and it makes a huge problem, people, because the fact that we have a bunch of Minotaurs that give Death Touch, but then everybody else has Death Touch, and then now you have to deal with that. And even if you get rid of one, they either still have all of Death Touch, or you get rid of that one, but your main creatures still have Death Touch. So it's still a huge problem for people.
Not to mention, we do have Burnish Heart, so that helps with the fixing quite a bit. Not to mention the Temple of Malady. And I'm not sure. Personally, I think, although I love how white is, the way to fix with it, there's just too many cards that I wanted to use with double white, and that's no way to go with the fixing.
No.
So, another possibility is the fact that if we go with red and black and splashing green, we can use the Nyx Weaver. Nice guy to stop some flyers, and it can go ahead and take a card that we mill with it and put it back into our hand for possible winning the game. So I think I'm going to end up going black, red, and splashing green.
I agree with this because we still have the mana fixture for the 2 mana that makes any color.
Yep.
So that really
And
does.
not to mention, this allows us to use the Grave Robber Spider, and also
And the
use,
temple.
Well, the temple is what I'm talking about, along with the Ketopass, or whatever you want to call it.
We don't know what to pronounce
But
that
it
thing.
allows us the option to using
It is a
its
nickname.
ability.
We will call it the cattle pass, I guess, because no one can, for the life of us, no one can pronounce this card.
Yes.
People who are
So-
watching this video, we've asked this many of times when I was doing stuff with Sam. Please tell us how to pronounce this card.
Video response. Tell us.
So I'm gonna start
You
laying
can
up.
shame us. I don't care.
I'm gonna start laying up the cards as I go. I'm gonna make the cut of the Return to Reveler right off the bat.
And I think we
Actually,
both will agree with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
That card's so bad. I played against in our My Seal draft. We both had one of these each, and it turned out to be what happened was whenever we played this card, whoever played it first won, because we always had heroic triggers for it, and it would just quickly get out of control, and so it was pretty much whoever played that card first won.
And for now, I'll leave in the Rotten Hulk and just see where we go with it. 5-drops are all great.
I'm assuming the Round Hulk is going to be one of our first cuts.
Possibly, it might also be the Grizzly Transformation.
I actually like that
But-
card. Surprisingly, when I first played with it, I actually like that card because the fact it gives Intimidate and it just draws a
But
card, so it
because the
replaces itself.
Return Reveler, when it dies, each player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his graveyard. Not something I wanted to have happen with one of my creatures, so that's automatically going to go out. Now, 1-drop red. We also have these lovely 1-drops. Some really decent 2-drops here. I'm going to also make the initial cut to cut the Font of Ire, just because even though it has the possibility of doing 5 to your opponent,
Just 6 mana.
it's not even the 6 mana. It's the fact that you can leave it there on turn 2, and when you get up to 4, you can either chuck it at their face or late game get them down to 5 and just kill them off with it. It's also the fact that you never know how it's going to go. So, more Minotaurs, 4 drops, and 7.
I love the cow people.
Feel really
And right now, I automatically want to add in the.
Did you cut this?
No, it's just a 6/7, dude.
Oh, well, I can't see it. Bring it back.
Okay, that's. Okay, it's over here.
Bring back the dragon that we were killing with the white spell.
Oh, shush.
Oh, you with your mouth.
But I'm holding the camera.
Okay, now I'm going to automatically add in the Burnished Heart because we are. As you can see, we do have some decent layout with our red and black, but there are some holes with our spells. Not to mention, we go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a nice spread, but I think I want to have just a little bit of fixing here. So I'll toss this guy in for now. He might get cut.
We have a lot of 3-drops.
So, well, I like having an early curve. Not to mention,
I'm a fast player. I'm an aggro
Yeah,
player.
if-
I'm not a control player,
if
so
you
I
can-
like having that.
If you can beat down early game, awesome. But
Yeah.
if you have someone that has a slow deck like the one we just built,
the green
probably wouldn't.
ups the 2-drop spot.
It does. Like I said before, like I'm a huge fan of the aggro. I can't play control to save my life. I'm not. I can't sit there for personally. You sit there for an hour for one game. I must beat you in the face. I think that's why I like the cow people.
But this is what I would be adding if I added green. So, love it. For now, I think we'll be cutting
Yes,
the just because we don't want too many 6-drops.
I agree.
He's decent for sideboard for what we're
Personally, if we had to splash in any one card of green, it would have to be the Sylvan Curious because for the fact that it's a 0/3 for 2 with hexproof and defender, but it also adds any amount of color to your mana pool that you want. So even if you're running 2 to 3 colors, even if that's just a splash, it's there and it will do the work for you. And it's really hard to get rid of.
Well, as I'm going along, I've got my 5-drops here. All the 5 drops for creatures are seem pretty good. We have the SEMS. If anybody's played him, you know he's really great when he monstresses. We have the nice Naiad here that can give Intimidate, and then we also have the Gorgons.
I think we would. We don't have a lot of like
Currently, this
enchantments though, do we?
is you don't need
Kinda?
a lot to go ahead and get through. The 4 drops already went through and cut the Rotted Hulk, and these are the ones I have here because this one allows us to use tricks with the graveyard, even if it's for 3. Paying 4 mana to give this guy +3/+3 isn't that bad. Not to mention the board has Intimidate, so that's automatically very well. And that thing can just sit there and do what it needs to do.
I think our cut's gonna be more on this side of the table.
Mhm.
Quite possibly, I might cut toward the higher up though too.
Me too. I mean, if we're playing this type of a game, we don't even probably need the spawn of Thraxus, the dragon, because
We just won't get there.
no, we
Oh,
won't get
well,
there.
it's not only that.
We
it's
should
the
win
fact-
by then.
The fact that we do have ramp means having another 5/5 flyer is another possibility.
Let's look
I
at
would
the-
say maybe we would keep it, and then if it doesn't work
I'm-
out,
I'm-
sideboard it.
I'm thinking of cutting the Minotaurs. I'm thinking of
I'm-
cutting, unfortunately, cut the cow people because we don't have a lot of Minotaurs to like back it up. I mean, it was a well, I see those over there, but I mean, honestly, do you want to play a 5-drop spell for 2/2/3s? I mean, does it? Well,
if
me
they're
personally, I
2/3s
don't.
they're 2/2/3s with
With
haste.
haste.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I
And on
wouldn't
top of
play
They
that
could have
on main phase 1. I wouldn't. I'd rather play one of these guys than play one of those.
I guess
like
it's a
how-
matter of playstyle.
I guess.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, so considering we only have 4 other Minotaurs. So to
Doesn't-
slim down the deck,
It doesn't break it enough. Like if we pulled one of the lords of Minotaur, one of the Minotaur lords, then yes, we can battle
or
this out for
even someone
hours.
like one of the rare Minotaurs, even then, like the Spirit Binder or the
Yeah, the lords. Yeah.
yeah. Well, they're not. He's not a lord,
No.
but
Well-
he is a rare that does stuff. So, as a suggestion, we'll take out the Minotaur stuff for now and just see where we
Put it
go.
on the side.
British heart must stay. The
If we
elk
had
must stay.
more to
Break it
band,
with.
we'll band the Minotaurs together.
Yeah.
Not actually band like the ability, but like
That ability was so annoying.
but like
I played during that time. That was so
Yeah.
annoying.
yeah.
Let's look at our spells here before we touch any more creatures. Nature's Panoply. Strive, cost of 3. Choose any number of target creatures. Put a 1/1 counter on each of them.
Does that target heroic? Because
Yes,
it
it will
says target. Because it's target creature, right?
Yes, it'll make heroic go off. Even though we currently are only running 1 heroic guy, so
We don't really need it.
yeah. So personally, I'm gonna be cutting it. Empathy Storm,
Yeah, we don't
great,
need it.
but not worth it. Coordinated Assault is always good.
Definitely need it, especially because it kind of goes off with. I mean, it's a
Spark Jolt is sideboard.
me personally. It's kind of like a whack-a-doodle type combo. I just said whack-a-doodle on the internet. All right, well that's enough of that down. But it's kind of ridiculous because when you get to this kind of stage, it becomes ridiculous because now you just give like 2 things that like I'll make my 1/1 become a 2/2 with Death Strike.
I love my
Block
removal,
your
so
big
I'm
guy.
definitely gonna be keeping the Magma Jet.
I love Hammer Spray. Spray.
Viper's Kiss and Dark Betrayal again at this point because we are going 3 colors. I probably want to keep take them out.
I agree.
and just for sideboard.
We want to keep the Scourge Marks because Scourge Marks replaces itself. It draws a
Well-
card, makes a +1/+0.
Well, I'm just getting there. Cast into Darkness, -2, -0, and can't block.
Mm.
We don't know what our opponent's doing with first, so maybe sometimes you want to have them block in the beginning. So for now,
Maybe.
let's take this out and keep both the Scourge Marks just because they do pump up our guys and, as you said, draw a card. Because we are playing 3 colors, giving one of our guys Intimidate and drawing a card for 3 isn't really doing us enough. So I'm going to be cutting that.
Come to think of it, we have a creature-heavy deck, and not
Which is
much.
perfectly fine.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
why I'm
bad.
keeping Rage of Perforos in here and keeping this because we do play plenty enough enchantment creatures where this becomes a pump spell. Currently, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 creatures by itself. So if we want to go creature.deck, we have it.
It's not a bad idea.
But again, that's just 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29.
We try and get to the 23 mark so that we can split up the lands.
Because ever since Ravnica, I've had the part where I can't cut down to 23.
You go to 24.
I can't even cut down to 24. I end up going to 25 and going over 40 and it's done well for me in the past.
Okay.
It's just because I end up having so many options and I don't like excluding them. It comes down to the part where I can't choose between the last two to make the cuts.
Well, does
Alright.
it do well for you?
Yes, quite well actually. I usually go 42, a total of 25 and 17.
Well, if we're going to go to the cut stage, this is, in my opinion, one of the first cards to go because
That's personally ramp. I would actually
Yeah, I would
cut
keep that first.
I don't like it. I
because-
don't like it. That's
because
just,
green is our splash.
Right.
I'm actually going with the satyrs.
Yeah, I agree.
I
because-
personally just don't like this card. I mean, I'd rather play an Elvish Mystic over it, just because
Well, it's also
just,
again, it's a 2-1 for 2, perfectly fine. It adds the green when we need it. So, worst case scenario, it's there to add a colorless when we need it.
As an elf player, I know that those tap manas can really
Add up.
jolt a deck.
And because we only have 6 spells, the cuts have to come from the creatures. Now,
I'm thinking the
1,
Rollicker.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
I'm thinking the Rollicker because we only have one, and I think it's just. I mean,
It is still a 1-drop that
But
even
we
late
kinda
game.
need it,
I don't think
Even
we need it.
late game. I'm looking more or less at the fact that we have 3 5-drops and 3 4-drops.
Right.
I'm thinking that if we're
I'm-
going this route, then I'm thinking the lamp pads.
No, not the Lampet, because that gives us Intimidate. I'm thinking the Disciple of Phoenix. Because we are definitely a creature heavy deck that wants to be more aggressive. We don't want to be sitting there trying to take a card out of our opponent's hand and leaving a 1/3 out just to block all day.
Agreed.
We want stuff to do attacks.
Okay.
So this is where I would cut. Usually, if I had other things to trigger devotion, I would go with it.
But we don't.
No, exactly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, 5.
And there's our deck.
We,
Unless you want to cut.
This is the Jared deck tech. So
yes, if you're a person who insists on going down to 23, if you look at how I have things set up, the creatures are definitely the key of it. You could honestly take a look, and if you see creatures that you don't like, one that's a possibility of cutting would be this one.
because of the color.
It requires both colors. On top of that, its ability mills you. It reads, if you can't tell. At the beginning of your upkeep, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. So it's milling you for 2 at the beginning of your upkeep almost every turn. But for its mana cost, you get to exile this card to return a target card from your graveyard to your hand. Now, that doesn't even have to be one that it mills. So that's one of the reasons I personally think it'd be great for this. Because if you have any of your creatures here that die, that you need to bring back, this little guy can go ahead and mill you for 2 for 1 turn and return that creature. Perfectly suitable for me. Not to mention, because we only have 2 flyers here, we need as much ways to stop flyers as possible, because they can just really, really deal some damage. So other than the removal that we have, we only have, other than the 2 flyers, we only have a total of 3 other creatures with reach. So if someone ends up having a fast flying deck, this is our best bet to save ourselves. Not to mention, as he's pointed out, this also only adds green. So if you really want to be worried about what you're producing, this is a possible cut. But it also helps with the Burnished Heart, which helps us get our other colors. And because we're doing these, this becomes one of our focuses. So this is my 3-color deck that I would end up running if I had gotten this pool in either the pre-release or the release, depending on what time you see this. If you don't, let us know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. I've had 3 colors work out for me just fine. I've been able to go with it. If you can't, if I don't recommend it if you don't have to, but there wasn't really enough with both red and black.
I agree. Well, thank you everybody for watching. This was Phil Brennan,
Jared Smith.
Andra.
and for Jared's deck tech. Have fun. Have fun. We'll see you guys soon. Please subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.